Hi everybody, it's time for your Farm and Ranch News. Well, each year here at the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, a highly attended event is the CattleFax Market Outlook Seminar, and for good reason. That's because the CattleFax team each year provides an in-depth look at where this cattle market is headed and of course the market factors behind it. And with us from CattleFax on today's program is Mike Murphy. And Mike, let's start by recapping the recent cattle inventory report and what it means for this cattle market here in 2020 and maybe more importantly a few years down the road.
Yeah, thanks Russell for having me. The inventory report that came out, we had a beef cow number that was down about 100,000 head compared to the year prior, and we had a little bit of a contraction even in that dairy cow number as well. More importantly, because of some of those harsh winter conditions we had a year ago or last spring, the calf crop was actually down about 300,000 head. As it relates to this year in 2020, it's not going to have a huge impact. We're still expecting a fed slaughter number to be up about 250,000 head, and we'll have a per capita supply of beef will be up a little bit as well. But looking forward, because of that smaller inventory, we'll probably see our biggest beef production here in 2020, and then start to see small modifications, a little bit of a decline in 2021 and further because of that foundation of that beef cow herd.
So with that all said, are you folks at CattleFax looking for this cattle market, especially for those steer calves in cow-calf country, to maybe work their way higher in the years to come?
Yes, if we think about this last fall, we had a lot of calves that have been trading between like $1.50 and $1.60 a hundredweight through that whole Northern Plains area. And we would expect this coming fall, those prices will be more on the $1.60 on the low end, and possibly if we get cheap enough grain costs, we could even see prices closer to $1.70 to $1.75, which should allow those producers to have a little bit more profitability.
That sounds good. Well, stay with us, friends, because we're going to talk about some more market drivers impacting this cattle market, both near term and long term, with CattleFax's Mike Murphy right after this. Our conversation today with CattleFax's Mike Murphy, and talking about some of those market factors and drivers impacting today's cattle market and looking down the road just a little bit. We talked about the cattle inventory report before the break, Mike. Let's talk about beef demand and where that is at and how that's impacting today's cattle market.
Well, beef demand is tremendous. We've had a great opportunity to be able to sell beef at higher levels here as we look back towards 2019. We expect that to continue on here into 2020. So from a domestic perspective, we're in very solid footing. The global market is where our real opportunity is. Obviously, we got the China trade agreement, and that's very favorable to the beef industry. Probably a little bit more longer term, we'll see that growth into China. But even as we look at exports for beef here in 2020, we expect them to be up 5%. So very positive on the demand side.
During your part of the presentation, you talked about this ample feed supply situation we have across the entire country as well.
Yeah, there's plenty of feed out there, both hay and corn. And that's not going to change as we look towards this spring. We're going to plant about 94 million acres of corn is our forecast. That's going to create a record, or a potential, I should say, for a record large crop this coming summer. And then on the hay side, we are moving to that La Nina event, which is going to create a little bit of a drier condition, especially in the southern plains. But we've had so much feed grown here in the last couple of years, I think we're going to be in good shape on the feedstuffs as well.
Well, we appreciate you taking a little bit of time for us and sharing your expertise again. CattleFax's Mike Murphy. For more information about them and, of course, how they could help you with some of your marketing decisions, visit cattlefax.com. That's a look at your farm and ranch news. I'm Russell Nemitz.